You're listening to Podcast PXN,
a video game podcast
delivering player experience news.
Let's go! It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Podcast PXN, episode 199, and I am one of your hosts, the perennial dating app swiper from Portland, Oregon, Christian Macias, and I'm joined over Discord by Kentucky's #1 Spartan, PXN founder, Daniel Prindle, aka Dan is DTM.
The planes are landing.
Thank you, Sully. And I'm I almost read the same line over again. And, of course, the president of the Tifa Lockhart fan club. He's a Nintendo aficionado and artist extraordinaire at Roro.
Hello, hello. I kind of want to watch that Superman show. Well, it's kind of bad.
Yes. She's also a cartoon.
That
You know
never
what they say
stopped
about
me before.
cartoons? I won't
Yes.
say it here. I won't say it live on the show. And we also have, lastly, one half of the Men Engage podcast. He's back. Battlefield's bad boy, the Tarkov Teletubby himself, BattleBit remastered, Let's Get Plastered, Gage Dempster. It rhymed, I'm sorry.
I was here a week ago, wasn't I?
I think so.
I'm almost certain that I was here.
Was I? Damn.
You were also here. Yep, we were all here. All four of us.
Oh,
were
that's
here.
right. That's right. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, welcome
That's
back.
Yeah.
Thank you again to everyone watching us live and participating in the chat. Just as a reminder, we are live each and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 5 Pacific. And on YouTube, just search Podcast PXN. You can also find us simultaneously streaming on twitch.tv/Podcast PXN. Housekeeping, episode 200. That's next week. Mark it on your calendars right now. We got fun stuff planned for you. Do the math. What's 24 times 7? 7 times 2, 14. 140 at least. And
It's more
about
than 3.
156 hours, I'm guessing.
Wow.
Podcast PXN 200. But until then, the topic of the show this week is AAA superhero games are on the rise. But first, the show always starts with the PXN news of the week, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Quick bites. Here we go, some smaller stuff. Naraka Blade Point, remember that game? The samurai ninja battle royale game? That is now coming to PS5 and will become free to play. That's this week. By the way, I think it's still on Game Pass as well. And if you're into that, it's a pretty fun game. My friend and I were discussing this. When we first started playing this game, we were owning lobbies. And then we realized we were up against bots for the first few matches because we were new players. And it was very depressing when we got into real lobbies and started getting absolutely smashed. So, fair warning. And good players out there. Next item, shout out Alexis McAllister. IO Interactive has opened a new studio in Brighton. That's in England for you international freaks. It will work on the company's James Bond game, its fantasy project, and the next Hitman. A lot of games coming out of IO Interactive. I'm very curious to see what the James Bond game shapes up to look like.
Incredibly excited. IO has had their own. IO has had a Capcom like renaissance since World of Assassination came out. Or since Hitman 2016, I should say, which eventually became. Yeah, good for them. I'm very excited. I cannot wait.
2 studios that Square had that were at the top of their game, and they're like, nope, we don't want them. Eidos Montreal made fucking Guardians of the Galaxy, which was great.
Not only do we not want you, but you can also take one of our most profitable IPs with you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
What a strange thing that happened that I feel like nobody's kind of looked at what? Very strange. But good. Ended up being good for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Ro says, fuck James Bond. I'm kidding.
Whoa.
Hate 'em.
You know what Ro doesn't say fuck to? Sonic, with our next story. Sonic co-creator, Yuji Naka. If you remember him, he got in a little bit of trouble for, a lot of stuff. But most recently for insider trading. As a result, Naka is receiving the equivalent of $1.2 million USD fine for that insider trading. He was also slapped with 30 months in federal prison, but since then it's been a suspended prison sentence, so long as he doesn't continue in further insider trading.
Do we know how much money he made from insider trading?
I actually don't know. Maybe I should click on this article.
Let's just double check, because knowing the United States, I'm sure he made 40 million and now he's been fined 1 million.
Well, this is in Japan.
He reportedly bought approximately 10,000 shares for around 2.8 million yen, which is $20,000.
How much did he make?
I don't know how much he made.
We don't know.
Oh, wait a minute. At the bottom, armed with this knowledge, it's claimed he bought 130,000 shares and earned a profit of over 20 million yen.
There it is. There it is.
God.
But that's
how the system works.
That's only $146,000 in US.
Still.
Oh. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay, but then he was fined more than he made, which is good.
A lot more.
Fuck the police.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
that's what you want from the legal system.
Yeah.
No
God.
way.
Man, fuck the police.
That's Sonic the Hedgehog. He's not happy about his dad.
Sonic?
Yeah.
Sonic says
Oh my
ACAB, baby. Let's just move on. We gotta move on. 343 Industries, remember them? Dan
Who are
says.
they? Who are they? I don't know who they are.
Remember what Dan says every week about it? I sure do. I'm referring to, of course, our fantasy critic, where he's winning, and I'm salty about it. 343 Industries is working with a group of modders to restore cut content from Halo CE. And I take back every mean thing I've said about 343i. This is kind of neat. This is kind of neat. You got one.
Well done.
And not just the original Halo Combat Evolved. They're also restoring cut content from Halo 2 and all kinds of other things as well.
Oh, the best one.
I think more. Yes, the best. Christian, I'm gonna fucking kiss you on the lips, my guy. I mean, I think it's really cool because it's not just Halo CE. You're giving them the base level. What they've gone in and what they're adding content from is from when before Halo was CE, when it was a third-person shooter, and before that when it was an RTS. Like they're adding stuff from 1999 when this game was going to be on Mac. It's really cool. They're going way back, and super cool to see 343 not only allowing people to do this, but actually helping them, assisting them in doing that.
And this is all inclusive of a big update that MCC just got today, Halo the Master Chief Collection, which got literally another free update.
I have to say it, and I don't want. This is not going to turn into a discussion. I know it's going to rattle Dan, but there's two halves of 343, and I'm telling you, the MCC. Let's switch sides. Whoever's been in charge of MCC for the last 4 years, they're now the lead of Infinite.
Pierre Hintz.
This is insane.
Gage, you're literally. Oh my god, you're literally. No.
No.
Whoa.
You're literally. I just think it's hilarious because you're literally excited about the man who is now in charge of 343. Pierre Hintz is the head of 343 now. He's the one who fixed Master Chief Collection and got all of these updates and everything going.
That's awesome.
Wow. I just laughed at that. Sorry.
Goodness.
Anyways, let's support MCC.
Support MCC. They're doing good work with that.
Yes. I have no transition, so instead I will just say the next item. Final Fantasy 16. That's how it's done, Dan. Final Fantasy 16 gets a musical. A musical has been announced, and at first I was like, "Oh, this is sick." Then I realized, no, it's a musical. Not. I was thinking a concert.
Orchestra.
Straight up musical. The show will be performed by the Japanese all-female theater troupe Takarazaku Review. Exciting. I should finish this game.
I would have liked for some more diversity. It's unfortunate that it's all female.
How dare they?
I too would like some more diversity. God, dude.
Goodness.
Let's go through puberty again. That'd be sick as hell.
Do you remember not being in control of your emotions any percent of the time?
I remember doing karaoke during Christmas and my voice was cracking a lot, and I was embarrassed. I'm sorry, I did that to you. You forgive me?
Did what? Already
Okay.
already
say
gone.
Yeah, already forgotten. You know what else is forgotten? FIFA. EA Sports is back with their new title, EA Sports FC. FC 24. We got a reveal of the cover featuring football stars, new and old, and the full reveal is coming tomorrow, July 13th. I'm very curious to see what EA Sports FC is going to look like. Personally, I enjoy the FIFA games, so
I'm interested to see how these sell compared to FIFA without FIFA's branding behind it. Be interesting.
Well, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. I'm thinking here. You're right, because the name FIFA does mean something, right? People call it FIFA.
Right.
But I don't know. When you have like cover stars like Jude Bellingham and Haaland, and you see, oh, actually, Ronaldo and Messi are not in this, but like, it looks like there's enough. No, it looks like there's enough recognition in the actual like cover art itself for it to be like, okay, with the EA Sports logo right next to the FC, for it to look like, okay, this is the next soccer game that I should be buying. So you're right, though. We'll see how it fares socially and then fiscally when they start putting titles out. So
are they not in this because they didn't have an agreement or whatever with them? Or
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know, but like one would think they would have them on there, but for whatever reason, yeah, they're not. And this is how contract works. I think it's because they're in PES, which is the other football game. But anyway. Let's just move on. Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone Season 4 Reloaded are adding the operators from The Boys. You got Homelander. Who else do you have? You have Homelander. You have the Batman clone dude, the one that doesn't speak.
Black Noir.
And you have Starlight. Thank you. It's been a while since I've seen The Boys. And I've seen some gameplay of it because they also added superhero powers in like actual Warzone with like little field upgrades. And I think it's pretty split from what I've seen so far in the timeline. Some people are enjoying it and having a kind of a ball with the wackiness, and some people are supremely kind of anti this collaboration, calling it like the Fortnitification of Warzone that doesn't really feel kind of fun, and it feels like kind of an identity crisis. And I can understand that for sure. I will probably not be jumping into Warzone.
I could see some people's, as a total outsider looking in, some people's I could see why people would be upset about this kind of collaboration, especially for the type of game that COD is. Not the collaboration itself, but like how it changed the game, I guess.
Made it like
thing is, it's not that this stuff isn't cool. I think just speaking from people that represent that kind of side of things, it's just it's I don't know. I wish we could return to when video games kind of had their own unique art style and they stuck to it, where every game is just kind of collaborating and just trying to be wacky and fun and look at all these cool, colorful things you can get. It's like, okay, but I'm in the Middle East, right? So, what? Like, what's going on here?
Weird,
yeah.
We'll see. He also added a new raid as well, but I don't think I'll be jumping into that either. I don't even remember the last time I booted up COD, period.
I'm pretty sure it was to play the raid with us, and we all had a fantastic time.
I remember Dan dying a lot.
That happens with any game that Dan plays. You have to narrow it down.
That's weird because I think we were just playing Halo before the podcast started, and I was always on top of the leaderboard.
I was on top of the leaderboard every match you played.
Yeah, I was, Gage.
Well, almost.
Yeah. The only one you were ahead on was the one you
started
when I was.
Chance? Do you have any information or evidence that you could provide?
When I was eating my dinner and I came back and I'm like, "Oh, you started another match." Oh yeah.
Oh, that's probably why you weren't on top. You don't eat dinner while you play video games. That's probably why you're not doing so well.
See, if you listen to Gage's advice more, maybe you'd have a higher KD, Daniel.
Maybe I'd suck like him.
He's gonna go postal one day.
I can teach you how to do that.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh.
Let's be respectful. Evan Wells, Naughty Dog co-president, after 25 years of the studio, shaped the studio, is retiring. Neil Druckmann to be the sole president of Naughty Dog moving forward after the year ends. Congratulations for finishing up your huge tenure, Evan Wells. I reckon I used to watch like the documentaries of the making of Uncharted and the Last of Us games and stuff, and you would see Evan Wells, like seeing him and Neil like grow in the actual studio has been really cool. A little bit sad. We'll see where the studio goes moving forward, but yeah, Tip of the hat to you.
To that. And congrats to Neil.
Neil.
It's kind of cool. Really cool. Like I said, with how he's grown as well, like being a programmer on Uncharted to the lead on Last of Us to now co-president. Or what is he co-president now? Is he like
yes.
taking over his role? Yeah. Pretty crazy.
No, well,
they
Neil was already co-president. They were
Oh, he was.
co-presidents
Oh,
together.
okay. Gotcha. So it's just that he's leaving.
3 years or so?
Carrick
Something like
says, "What kind of candy bar, Christian?" I'm assuming it's a protein bar.
You would be right. It's a Think protein bar.
Think.
I have to go train after. I have to run.
Hell yeah! Run through walls.
Why would I do that? I can't do that.
I don't know. Just that's what mad people do is run through walls.
Who said I'm mad? I'm sad.
No, mad like as in, let's do this. Ah, like I don't know.
Okay, sir. It's not. Oh, it's not the last bit of Naughty Dog news we have in Quick Bites. The Last of Us HBO has been nominated for 24 Emmys.
Too many. Too many.
Too many. Sure. I think other shows deserved a bit more. I will say this though: it's the second highest nominated show of the Emmys. I think this year. It's a lot, and we can go over some of the.
Is it behind Succession?
I think Succession was 27 nominees.
So. Sorry, go ahead.
It's a long list.
Unless
yes. So it was nominated in Outstanding Drama Series. Outstanding Lead Actor went to Pedro Pascal. Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series went to Bella Ramsey. Guest Actor, long list: Murray Bartlett, Lamar Johnson, Nick Offerman, Kayvon Montreal Woodard, and then guest actress Storm Reed, Anna Tarv, Melanie Linsky. Outstanding writing, outstanding directing, so on and so forth. It's a lot of nominations.
Zero
He's gonna be mad.
Zero chance for Pedro and Bella. They did not like. I enjoyed it. It did good. I liked it, but they're not in the same. I'm sorry, it's not in the same. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Outstanding prosthetic makeup, absolutely.
W. Absolutely. There's some here that I think it absolutely deserves to win. I would say, I feel like Nick Offerman is kind of an easy W, and I feel like that's not just the popular choice, but also like I feel like he did an incredible job. Like for everything that I've seen Nick Offerman in before, this was a cut above the rest. So I hope that he gets that one for sure.
I have something to say. I need someone to fill time though.
How's that?
Not that way. Not like that.
As a person someone who doesn't watch a lot of TV unless it's like this, like The Last of Us or something that I'm really into, like Sonic or something. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying similar stuff that The Last of Us doesn't deserve. Maybe not deserve is the wrong word, but surprised that it got 24 nominations when there were others out there. As someone who's not familiar with this year of TV, what other shows besides Succession do you think should have deserved stuff? Just for like out of curiosity, I know it's like not really a games topic, but I'm just curious.
I have to just say I didn't see Better Call Saul, so I can't speak to that final season. I heard it's incredible. Yeah. I think Kieran Culkin absolutely deserves the W for lead actor, more so than Jeremy Strong. Kieran Culkin, same thing with Nick Offerman. When you look at like, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and he's like the fan favorite, it's great. What he does, especially in the final season of Succession here, is like this is like a trades actor. This is somebody who's like this. It's nuts. He did absolutely insane.
There's a few problems with the Emmys. Is that one? There's not a lot of variety in the lead actor and lead actress series. They nominated a lot of actors from the same shows, so which leaves a lot of other shows unrecognized. That's just a fundamental problem off the board. Two, they have weirdness with the way categories work. So you have dramatic shows like The Bear in the comedy series. Nothing about season 2 is comedic at all. Jeremy Allen White nominated in the lead actor in a comedy role. And then you have shows like The Last of Us, which like you have Pedro Pascal going up again, sure, against people who deserve it, like Kieran Culkin, but also like Better Call Saul probably gonna get him unrecognized as well. And then Brian Cox, like I think he's in a lead position, and like, come on, why would you put Brian Cox of Succession in lead like that? That is more of a supporting role. No, from my understanding, everyone's like, come on, that should be more supporting.
With the final season, you can't get into it with spoilers, but seeing as how they are just basing it off the final season, he should not be in a lead role. No, even though he is a lead character in the show. Sorry for any spoilers that somebody wants to deduce what that means, but he should not be nominated for, even though he is but that's the thing, right? So he's a lead in the series. His character absolutely is a lead in the series, but in the final season, he's not. So I don't know.
I'll also say congratulations to T. Lou for all its nominations. Personally, I think there are some better options out there for what should win. However, I'll say this: 3 Emmys for Pedro is big because he's now the most nominated Latino in history, male Latino, for 3 of them.
Hell yeah!
Okay,
Superman and Lois, guys, give it some love. I don't know if it got any nominations, but if it didn't, it's a crime. That show's amazing. I get your beef with the CW stuff, Christian, but you have not seen this show. Might
as well tell me to go watch the Flash movie for Oscar contention.
I did not say that. No, all due respect, you have not watched Superman and Lois. That show is a cut above.
That's true.
That show is a cut above.
See, I respect you for saying that because I was making a joke with like the full intention of just being disrespectful just for the meme of it.
Right.
And then you came back and were extremely respectful. So now I just feel bad.
So instead we'll just pivot. Well, and it's different. Like I love The Flash, but that fucking show just got horrible. Like that show was terrible the last several seasons.
I meant the movie.
No, I know. I know you meant the movie, but I'm saying the Flash TV show was bad the last several seasons. They had no fucking new ideas. This is
it's a CW, so
yeah. Well,
I did see a clip of Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
Of a scene of him, Superman fighting a certain villain, and I was like, you know what, this sure, I get why it's good. But I heard the relationship between the Superman and Lois is like really. It was better done than Henry Cavill and Amy Adams. I've heard.
Yeah, it's amazing, especially this season.
They gave Amy nothing in those movies.
This is now officially a television themed episode of Podcast PXN. Because I just have to say this with CW, I've noticed something because there are a few CW shows that I love and that I think are really great. CW, every show that's on there is limited by production value. It doesn't, like, there are some really good, well-written shows. Like I am a classic. I will beat the drum. I love Jericho. Jericho was ahead of its time, and I am so upset that it got canceled. But like, if I were to show somebody a clip of Jericho, there's only so much I can expect from them to like. It looks like there are things where it's like you can come here and say like you got to watch the show, Gage. It's really got like. I understand that, but you have to understand that when you show somebody visually a CW show, especially a clip or something like that, like they're so limited by the amount of budget or what they can do on that network. I don't know what it is, but there are some great shows, but my God, like,
and it's only
never reached their full potential.
And it's only going to get worse because fucking they approved Superman and Lois another season, but they fucking announced that they're cutting the cast in half and that most of them are not going to be reoccurring guests, which I'm like, that's the whole fucking thing that made this season amazing, all these relationships of all these characters, and then they're going to strip them all away for this next season because CW doesn't want to fucking pay for the cost. That just pisses me off because next season's going to suck.
I'm with you. I'm gonna jump on some TV stuff too. Andor, get more noms than I think. Like why is Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Emmys? You know, I'm just getting mad.
That show shouldn't be anywhere near the.
Absolutely not.
That show was insanely bad.
Oh,
I cannot believe.
God.
I cannot believe that. Like, man,
that's kind of where my question was alluding to. Like, what else could beat The Last of Us? But you guys made the points that it's. Like there are a lot of other ones, but at the same time, there's like stuff like that are also in the competition. I'm like a little confused.
Even if they literally like what Christian was saying with the problem of nominating multiple actors from one series, I think even if they limited it to you can only nominate one actor from one series, like in each category, I still think in most series, even if it's only Better Call Saul and Succession we're talking about, and again, I can only speak for Succession, there's not much that I think HBO would be, like The Last of Us would be able to win, in my mind, over Succession. In terms of like, again, not that The Last of Us is a bad show, but like sometimes like you're going up against a show, contenders, where Succession is just one of the best things I've ever seen. And like I've heard the same thing about Better Call Saul. So when I say that HBO, I don't see W's for it, it's not that I don't think they deserve it in terms of like it wasn't a good, well-made show where the cast and crew wasn't busting their ass to make something good. It's just another cast and crew was busting their ass and they made something better. That's kind of what it comes down to. Of what I think when I look at this list and I see what they're nominated for, I'm like, yeah, I don't see a lot of dubs here.
You want some quality TV? Just wait until Echo comes out from Marvel.
Oh God,
that's a reference to a post I shared earlier that I will not reference now. So it's an inside joke only to us three. It's a great podcast on my part. Final quick bite, Microsoft news, but it's some interesting one. Here we go. Microsoft is launching a new Xbox voice reporting feature. It allows players to capture and report up to 60 seconds of voice activity inside any multiplayer games that have in-game voice chat. And I agree with Tom Warren that Call of Duty lobbies might be a whole lot cleaner. Yes, my only concern is like when you have so many people talking at once, I'm not sure how it's going to work with like identifying who's the one speaking. Maybe they have some kind of software that identifies it better than I could even understand how to do so. But still, I think this is big. Like, especially coming off of playing BattleBit, where you have like mass reporting and lobbies being kind of like expunged of any kind of like racism or any kind of offensive language. This is huge, especially for Call of Duty, man. It's a nightmare playing that game.
Yeah, this will be good because it sucks when you hear people attribute what players do to a game where it's like you could have like I could totally see somebody plays a round of BattleBit and they only hear awful people, and then you kind of conflate those two things together. But I think you respect and kind of give kudos when developers are proactive on it, where it's like BattleBit, even from the first day I played to the most recent time I played, like I'm noticing a huge difference in just what I'm hearing, where the first time when I played pretty close to launch and you have a whole bunch of people and people are just kind of trying to, I don't know, get content and be edgy or whatever. But now the voice chat seems like already it's kind of, I've noticed a difference in terms of like, oh, and now I'm just hearing people scream bloody murder, like role playing, crying for their mother, as opposed to just saying heinous shit. Yeah. So this is cool. I like this.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I agree. This is really cool. Cool feature. I think everybody should try to implement something like this.
The only problem I will say is that we're have to wait and see how it all shakes out, because if a game is M for mature, is swearing a bannable offense?
No. I don't think this I don't think this is pointing at that kind of stuff. I think this is pointing towards like toxicity. Like
I know what they're targeting. I'm just saying, like, it's just, I don't know, like, I guess I worry that like some people might get banned just from trash talk, and the person that's reviewing your case maybe thinks that you went a bit too far. But it's like the game's M for mature, then I feel like there's got to be a leniency. But as a whole, this is definitely, I think, a step in the right direction.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope there's, I'd hope it doesn't do what Gage says, and that they're not what he said, but I hope there's at least a level of bannable offense. Like maybe people get banned, straight out banned. And if people are taking a little bit too far, maybe it's like a shorter amount of time. But I would hope that whoever's reviewing the cases can, I don't know, use their common sense and able to differentiate the two, toxic versus trash talk versus I just said a swear word by mistake in the moment or something.
Fuck! Yeah. I guess you saying that, Ro, kind of a better way to put it is I hope it's actually people reviewing it and not a system.
Right.
That's what I mean, right? So that's the thing, right? Like if it's a clip of saying like, "Oh fuck you, you fucking killed me," that sucks. It's like okay, that's mean, kind of, but also if you're playing an M for mature game, you didn't really like. To me, if I was reviewing it, that would be something that I let slide. However, if it's like an AI system, right, that's kind of like, oh, 3 curse words in X amount of sign, and it said you, which means it is attacking you, therefore ban. It's like, well, I don't know if that's necessarily the same as somebody screaming the N-word a bunch. Like I don't know. There's levels to it, and it's weird. It's a tough thing to figure out. So when they say they've developed this system, I guess my concern is just, okay, does that mean people are reviewing it, or does that mean you've got some sort of auto filter that's just gonna
answer your question? The reported clips will be reviewed by human moderations, not an algorithm.
Cool.
So
that already makes you feel better.
I'm gonna keep it real. I don't know how Dan didn't get banned when we were playing BattleBit. Man Bro is picking fights left and right, dude.
I was not. I was just making. I was making.
Dan, you
jokes.
went into that match
making
like I'm not
conversation.
trapped in
Yeah.
here with you. You're trapped in here with me. That's the attitude you had with that match. You were just going after
You-
everyone.
Yeah,
It's
you
true.
were all out of chewing gum,
Yeah.
as the old adage goes.
So I kicked some ass.
Yeah, but instead of kicking ass, it was I'm getting sniped constantly.
Yeah, that's true. And screaming into my mic.
We have one street meet here. It's not written down. It's coming off the dome. I'm gonna come up with my own rumor. I'm kidding. I saw it online earlier. Supposedly, rumor has it that NBA players have seen this year's Call of Duty already,
Mm.
and they do stuff like this pretty often. They hand it to a lot of sports players, are into like more casual gaming, like NBA 2K or like the FIFAs and your Call of Duties. So they'll send them out or bring them to events, and supposedly they saw the new Call of Duty already. So we may have a reveal coming shortly.
Hell yeah.
I'm not surprised. It's just DLC, isn't it? I mean, whether or not it's DLC,
Joke.
it's just DLC, isn't it?
No, it's a full retail price game. Modern Warfare 3?
No, he's
Right, but
making
it's
a.
deals.
he's
You're making a
But
joke.
it's-
Yeah.
Whether or not it's DLC, it's just DLC, isn't it?
Damn.
I will not be buying this game. 3 items in PXN news of the week. The first is, hey, video games, preserve them. Because 87% of classic video games are, quote, critically endangered, its claim a study has found. By the way, I want to just mention, why aren't people, buying used games or older games more often? Well, one, if they are available to find, the prices for these bad boys are, have been going up, I think, 40% over the past couple of years, where just classic games are getting far more expensive if they are available. And the games that are not available, well, they have nowhere to go. So I'm going to read a little bit from this article on VGC, because they have a pretty good analog that I enjoyed reading. Across the Game Boy family of systems, only 5.8%. This figure was far higher prior to the shutdown of the Wii U and 3DS eShop, which resulted in the only games available for those systems largely being locked behind Nintendo's online service. I missed a little bit here, but essentially I'm kind of catching you up. It's about Nintendo games here in this bit not being available. Quote, imagine if the only way to watch Titanic was to find a used VHS tape and then maintain your own vintage equipment so that you could still watch it, the study said. And what if no library, not even the Library of Congress, could do any better? They could keep and digitize that VHS of Titanic, but you'd have to go all the way there to watch it. It sounds crazy, but that's the reality we live in with video games. A $180 billion industry, while the games and their history disappear. Yeah, dude. And this is why I think, honestly, piracy is okay to an extent. If they're especially, oh my god, there's also the another analog where people have been saying hey, if a streamer like HBO or Disney Plus is removing something from their catalog as a tax write-off, that should be public domain. You should be able to find that online and watch it. And I think in a lot of ways, when you have so many games that are just gone, not available, they should be in some kind of domain somewhere. And I'm glad the Library of Congress does preserve now games and game soundtracks. But yeah, games themselves should be more available as time goes on.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of catch up that lawmakers have to do with the age of streaming, because I was even thinking about this the other day with, again, this is a TV episode of PXN. I was thinking about this with Midnight Mass, and I was like, this show is this is some of the best TV this is some of the best miniseries I've ever seen. I wish I had this on DVD. I wish I could have this on my shelf, but it happened to be published by Netflix, so I can't. I can only find it on Netflix. It's just kind of disheartening, because especially in times when you're like, you know what, I don't want to support this company, or I want to cut back on spending or whatever, right? It's a lot of these things are locked behind services, and when you look at Nintendo with what they're doing, it's like, oh, you want to play these old games? Well, subscribe to this pack or this pack, and that's what you're gonna have to do to play them.
Yeah, and those could disappear as well, just because of the digital nature of it. There's so many games that I've wanted to play that I go to my local mom and pop shop. There's one in Pickering, there's a town near us that's called Got Games or something with a Z, so it's really cool. And they sell a lot of retro games there, but they're so damn expensive. I just want to play Pokemon Black and White again, but it's near $100 for just the cartridge. It's this is insane. There's this other game called Haunting Ground that I wanted to play, and it's on the PS2. It's a survival horror game. It's like one of the few that I actually want to try, and it's like $400. Like that's the cheapest price I could get it for. But that's leading into something that I saw today from Limited Run Games, who do a pretty good job of kind of trying to preserve older games. And WayForward, who has brought back River City Girls from Japan and made a whole new series, River City Girls was an original side-scrolling beat 'em up, and then they remade it with River City Girls 1 and 2. They made a sequel, so awesome. But WayForward right now is trying to remake Clock Tower, which is a survival horror game from way back when that has never been in the West. And I could show you guys the trailer later. But it's stuff like this. Like WayForward is pretty great, but I hope other studios like Capcom is obviously remaking Resident Evil right now. But you don't even have to remake it. Just like make these games more available to the people who want to have access to it. That's why, like when we were talking about it last week, I'm totally fine with these remasters. Give me more of them. I don't mind us having access to these games. Of course, I would like them to be good as well. But yeah, I just wish it was easier to have access to this stuff. But I think the games industry is starting to very slowly start to catch up and make these things available. But it's a long time coming, I feel like.
Yeah.
The other problem is like Microsoft obviously does a really good job with preserving their game catalog. They're probably the best in the industry right now, but even with that, there's still a ton of games that are no longer accessible on their platforms because of licensing deals or whatever, what have you, that they don't have permission to use that content anymore. So that also is another factor.
And also even games that are coming out now that are just like only digital, like in a couple of years, it's like, how are we going to have access to Alan Wake or the Metal Gear Solid collection that's coming out? I don't know if that's getting a physical. Maybe it is. I might be talking my butt here, but they're doing this to new games too. That could, it's like, yeah, not good.
Yeah, Alan Wake 2 is digital only. There's one more this fall that's also digital only. I can't remember what it is.
Is it that narrative space one with Roger from, I can't think of his last name. This Fort Solaris, Fort something.
Oh, that
Troy
Fort Solace
Baker.
That's next year. I haven't heard if that's digital only, but there should be another one this fall. It's also just it's getting a physical release, but it's digital only code, and it will only be available to purchase digitally. Otherwise, and yeah, Bro's right. Like, what is going to happen to those games when stores shut down? That's crazy. That is crazy. I regret my digital only PS5 now, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully they bring out that disc port soon. Attachable disk drive.
No, well, remember Dan said. Dan, I think, saw somewhere that the port it's not compatible with older models, which
right.
Ridiculous.
So it'll be the PS5 Slim that they launch, that Tom Henderson's been talking about.
I think it's a way for them to save money because they don't have to make two different versions of the console. They can just make one version and then sell that on the side.
But they could just stop production on the original unit and still make the disk drive compatible with, like, yes and no. Like, they're using that as a shield. Like, there's no good reason that it can't work with the current digital, other than just they don't want to. They want to move people towards that PS5 Slim, whatever it is.
Although I think the rumor also was that it would incorporate somehow, like it would make it look like it was one system. Wasn't that part of it?
Like it was part of it?
Yeah,
they did say that.
Yeah.
We'll see. What else we'll see? Microsoft has won its U.S. court case to acquire Activision Blizzard. The judge has refused to grant the FTC an injunction blocking the deal. And at the time of writing this morning, this document, I wrote, will the FCC try to appeal? Tom Warren was tweeting earlier this week, I think 2 days ago now, or maybe it was yesterday, saying usually it doesn't try to. And then I saw another tweet that's saying it looks like the FTC might be leaning and actually appealing. And then an hour ago, sorry, pulling it up. An hour ago. Loading. The FTC has filed an appeal against Judge Corley's decision to deny its preliminary injunction request over Microsoft's proposed ABK acquisition. So folks who thought we were done talking about this for a while, we will not be. And this makes it so, obviously the deal needs to go through by what, like less than 2 weeks? It's looking like it's not going to. And Bobby Kotick is going to get a very substantial, what do you call it? Just
sum of money.
For the deal not going through. And breakup fees, something like that?
Yeah, I don't
breakup fees.
I don't
We
know.
don't know how much Bobby Kotick gets. Like, it goes to Activision. We don't know the breakdown of where
Sure.
that money goes.
Yeah.
But with him as CEO, he will be seeing a lot of it. Yeah.
For sure.
I also saw a video. I think his take-home pay last year was like $120 million.
It's well above the other CEOs and similar publishers. Yeah, it's crazy.
More
He
than
makes way
100
more.
million more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
July 18th is the deadline, and like I don't even know, like, how does the appeal affect that? Like, does Activision and Microsoft say, all right, let's hang on and see what happens with this appeal before things, before they say, oh no, we're not going to do this, because technically they won the injunction, or they won in the sense that they were denied, the FTC was denied the injunction against them. But like, if the appeal comes on the side of Microsoft yet again, then they could continue their acquisition. But I don't know. I don't know how that works. I think we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Now that the FTC is choosing to appeal Judge Corley's decision, the regulator needs the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to issue an emergency stay to extend the existing temporary restraining order, or a TRO, that is set to expire at midnight on Friday, July 14th.
okay,
It's not clear if the appeals court will even rule before the deal deadline on July 18th, potentially leaving the door open for Microsoft to close the ABK deal on Monday or Tuesday without a restraining order in place.
interesting. It's legal bullshit. It's just insane. And the crazy part is, regardless of this outcome, we're not done talking about it, because this injunction is just over the FTC trying to stop Microsoft from doing the acquisition right away. The FTC still has their full investigation coming this fall, like I think August or whatever. They were supposed to have their full investigation. So like, those two things are kind of independent of one another, and we still have more to talk about from this in the future, unfortunately.
We're going to be talking about this for years, literally years.
Maybe. I mean, who knows?
I think it's tough.
But until then, because we're not lawyers, we're just some lads hanging out on Discord every week. Until then, we'll be checking in on our fantasy draft. Let's check the league history. I know we have some reviews come in. We'll get there. But I wanted to check the history for this week. And yes, confirmed over the weekend. Saliva Gang PDX. That's me. Hello. I picked up Helldivers 2. No other competing bids for that game, so I picked it up. Fingers crossed it comes out this year. That is the release date, so
I think it was Polygon, so take it with a grain of salt. But somebody said that they had a play session recently, and they said it was very, very fun. So, assuming it was somebody who knows how to play video games, I'm sure that it was. Hopefully, that's a good sign. Hopefully, it's a sign that it's fun. It looks great from what I've seen. Like, just entirely PvE, 4-player co-op. Like, this sounds like a perfect game to hang out with the buds and play. And I will definitely be playing it. And I think the 4 of us, should be playing it as well.
I loved Helldivers 1, and then seeing the trailer that PlayStation put out last week on just kind of details on the multiplayer. It was very short. It was 4 minutes long. That kind of gave me the confidence to think it'll probably be coming out this year. But when you have an in-depth video like that going over all the systems, I think they're pretty confident it's going to come out in the fall. And it looked, like Gage said, it looked freaking great. And I was surprised no one else picked it up. So I got it. And what else do we have? Roe has some points. Oxenfree 2, Lost Signals, I think that comes out tomorrow.
It wasn't me, unfortunately.
Oh, Halo. God damn it, dude.
It really wasn't that many points,
least,
Fuck
but you got
me.
them. But you got them.
But you
That's
got
fair.
them, yeah. Dan picked it up. It's his last game actually that he has picked up.
Yep.
And that currently is sitting at an open critic rating of 78, which gives him 8 points. He's still very comfortably in the lead with 118 total points.
I'm worried about Super Mario RPG remake after listening to Game Scoop last week, because apparently there's a lot of people that don't like that game, the original.
Oh,
And I'm like,
the original game.
Yeah, that it's being based off of. Like, they're like, oh, it's super clunky, it's not great. Oh,
No, it's Super Mario.
Nice. Got him. Sit down, Dan. Stand up and then sit down again.
I didn't say it. The Game Scoop people said it.
No, I'm saying, Gage, that was funny.
Yeah,
It's not super clunky. It's Super Mario.
I know, but
Laugh.
super clunky was terrible.
Laugh!
Laugh.
Swear
Looking
to
ahead to
me.
next week. Nice. I'm not wearing hockey pads. Next week we have
Such a
Pikmin
good
4. No, 721. What is 720? What is? Oh, yeah, that's next week. Oppenheimer, Barbenheimer, Shin Bar Pikminheimer, something like that. And that's from me, so that'll come next week.
The Oppenheimer, yeah.
That's good.
When's
Anyway,
Mission Impossible, Christian? When are you seeing it?
I did yesterday.
Oh,
You guys are supposed to see it together.
I know. Yeah.
Christian, you're supposed to
Do you
see
want
it
my
together.
thoughts on Mission Impossible real quick? I
No
can give them to you.
spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Great movie. Great action movie. I think that Mission Impossible Fallout is by far and away the masterpiece of the Mission Impossible movies that Dead Reckoning Part 1, I think, cannot compete with. However, this one has balls.
Hell yeah.
That's ball.
So does Fallout.
Big old balls.
In my mouth. Thank you, Tom Cruise. What you got for me, Daniel?
What do I have for you? I have some games that we've been playing, and one of those games is Pummel Party. Christian, ain't that right? Been playing.
Yeah, who won?
Pummel Party? Not me. Came in dead last.
That's like in most games, yeah.
Yeah.
Describe
I know.
Pummel Party to us, Dan.
Yeah, it's really fun actually. You described it pretty well, saying it's basically like Mario Party, with there's a few other elements added in there that make it interesting. Some little power-ups on the map and trying to race to chests to get these trophies. Pretty neat. But yeah, all these mini games are really cool. There's a lot of stuff that I thought was really neat. Like there's one that you run across the street and try to collect gold, and the more gold you collect, the slower your character walks. So you have to avoid traffic, kind of like Frogger. So it slows you down, and whoever collects the most wins. So it's really cool. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. With you guys.
Let me jump in on this. Yeah, we played Pummel Party with my friend Croissant, and yeah, he describes it as Mario Party to me. I see the Mario Party like they're ripping that as well, but also the mini games themselves remind me more of like a Fusion Frenzy, like you mentioned, Dan, when we were playing. Like yeah, you're like, oh man, I would love a new Fusion Frenzy, and I think I agree. Like those games are really fun. There's a level of difficulty. Like I always think about the Fusion Frenzy one when you're like on that infinite spinning tower that you have to like jump or duck.
Yep.
Yeah, and it like gradually gets faster. Pummel Party like gets to that level of insanity where like it's going in like really fast, and it relishes in that chaos. And yeah, like you said, the spin in this game is like, yeah, you're collecting keys to open these chests, and when you get the chest, you get like a crown or whatever. That's like the star equivalent. But you also have like a health meter to keep track of. Like you can kill people or damage people, and they'll lose keys, and you can go collect them. And it's that little like silly layer just makes it a lot more interesting. It's like, Dan, we convinced you to buy it on Steam sale, and I had a good time.
Yeah, I'm really glad you convinced me of that, because it is, yes, very fun. And complete antithesis of that. Not that this isn't fun, but a completely different game.
Right.
Outlast Trials was the other game we played, and we.
Oh, that was the game I said we should all play forever ago. Yeah,
really? Is that the
yeah,
game you said we should play?
Did you
I
guys
said
play
it
That's
before
weird. I didn't
you
get an
said
invite.
it.
Huh.
Before the game
Sounds
was even
fun.
out. Wait,
I don't know what it's.
I've
I've never played it, so I don't know how does it play. Is it fun?
I played it.
I played it.
Oh, did you both play it?
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't know you guys were playing.
We have
fun.
Gage, you knew I played it at one point. That's a
I
hint.
thought you did testing for it.
Shh. I've never seen that game in my life, Gage. What
They're
are
on
you
his way to his
talking
house,
about?
let me do
Anywho,
Never.
yes, Outlast Trials, fantastic. I
Fuck that game.
really enjoy it. Really enjoy
It's
it.
so scary.
It is. It's creepy as fuck, but it's really fun. Like, especially, like, that game is not to be played solo. If you're playing that game solo, that's no bueno. But playing with a group of people that, like, actually are communicating, that it's really fun. Like, we should definitely get a game night with us on there if everyone is in.
We would have so much fun.
Yeah.
I would hate to play cooperative with Gage, though. He would let me down, I think. I want to put this on the record. We played, so they'll have trials where it's like kind of longer level missions, and then they have smaller ones, not using this, it'll use parts of the same map, but like the layout will be different. They're called like challenges. We did a challenge the other day where I used a syringe to revive Daniel because he died, and then he left me to die. He left me to die. He completed the challenge, and my dead body just remained. So I failed it. I got to do that one again.
To be fair, I looked everywhere. We could not find another syringe. There was no other syringe to pick you up. So we tried.
Sounds like you both got
Fair
what you
enough.
deserve. So
I mean, we tried.
You know what? You should get Gage Outlast Trials so we can play.
that's a good idea. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
And Pummel Party. Both you and Ro both have to get both of those games. Play some
Hell yeah.
game night.
Ro, I'm gonna let you know right now. Outlast Trials, just doing the tutorial. I yelled like 3 times.
It is scary, yeah.
Oh god. I'll feel more brave with you guys.
Hell yeah.
Also, quick mention, Halo Infinite Squad Battles, new game mode that they just dropped today, or yesterday, I'm sorry. Very fun. It's back to the classic 8v8 big team battle. That's what big team battle used to be. Now it's 12v12, and they've brought back classic Halo 3 maps that were remade by the community in Forge. It's fantastic. Honestly, I like squad battles more than I like big team battle. Really fun. Really fun.
We also played Phasmophobia.
We did.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Scary game. We suck.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Ro?
Yes, I am playing a spooky game too, but not to that level. I'm playing
Dead
Oxen
Space.
Free 2. No.
Just
Oh
kidding.
god, that is to that level. Wouldn't that be to that level? I'm playing Oxen Free 2, which is a sequel to a very much beloved game, Oxen Free. Yeah, Night School so far. I'm pretty early on, maybe about I'd say an hour into it. So far has not disappointed. The story is really cool. The Night School, just like the writing is just so, it's good. It's really good. It's just so natural how the characters communicate with each other and how you, the player, pick the options and just how the NPCs like bounce off you. It just sounds so natural how the characters are written. That's one of the things that I really like about the game, just because the main point of the game is like listening to the conversation. So at least they're fun to interact with. And I'm actually playing on Netflix. So this is the first time I've actually tried this. Like we talked about it last week.
The mobile version.
The mobile
Interesting.
version, yes. Yeah. So I'm playing it on my iPad right now. And I'm using like the Apple Pen most of the time to like point where I'm going. So I'm kind of using it like a mouse. I just thought I would be interested to try it out on Netflix instead of buying it. But I thought it'd be cool to see how that worked. And so far, it's been pretty good. Instead of instead of purchasing it, but
So
it
is
crashed on me
streaming?
once.
Sorry.
It's
Is
not
it-
streaming. No, it's
Okay.
like it downloads the game. So
Okay.
you go onto Netflix and then you click the Oxenfree icon, and then it downloads it from the App Store, I guess, like
Yeah.
you would for any other game. So then
That's
it's on your
cool.
home screen and stuff. And yeah, it works pretty good. Like I was saying, it crashed on me once, but ever since then, it's been running totally fine, no hiccups or anything while I'm actually in the game. Besides that one crash, but yeah, I was impressed. I don't know what other games I would play on Netflix besides stuff like this. It was Before Your Eyes that came out. Yeah,
Oh.
before exactly. Yeah, I was going to mention that. Before Your Eyes was another one, but I already played that one. So maybe if I hadn't, I would have played it. But I think it's cool that it's available this way for people, I guess, like me, who don't want to buy it, but also people who aren't really gamers and don't have consoles or PCs or anything for that. Just like they just see a really cool game and decide to check it out.
It's a shame that Netflix doesn't market their games section as much as they do their other stuff, because they have a long list of like impressive indies that they've gathered over the years that like people are still surprised whenever like, oh, they have this game on there. Like, yeah, they do for some reason.
I'm gonna have to double check what else they have then.
What is this? You're looking at my ranking?
Yeah, what the fuck
Oh.
is that? It's number 4?
Number 4.
That's reckoning?
preposterous.
I sent him my Mission Impossible ranking before I put my phone on the charger.
How high is Ghost Protocol? Last one probably.
It's number 6.
No, it's 5, isn't it?
number 6.
Ghost Protocol. Oh no, there's 7 movies. Yeah, it's 6
What's the worst one? Oh, 2, right? 2's the
2.
worst one.
for me.
I haven't even watched it because of you. You told me not to.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Oxenfree 2, very good. Play it if you're interested.
Yeah. Speaking of twos, yeah, that one's good. Dan already mentioned Phasmophobia, Pummel Party, ILS Trials. That was a great weekend. I want to say this just off the bat. I've been having publicly. I've been having some weird heart stuff happening again to me. This past year hasn't been the greatest mentally going through it and physically. I've had like flutter happening in my chest again. I suspect. I don't think it's any kind of low iron. I think it's some kind of what do they call it? Atrial flutter or something like that. I suspect it might be that. I'm going to hopefully getting to talk to a doctor about that. Could be just low grade anxiety atop that. Anyway, all this to say, over the weekend, just playing games with the lads was a much needed mental health day. So I'm looking for more of those. And if you four are trying to game at any point, just hit me up because I will most definitely be around.
Hell yeah.
Oh, where was I going with this? And also, I got back into Final Fantasy 16 after a long weekend away from it, and it's still fun. I still like Zelda more. Sorry to say. Gage. Midnight Club?
Midnight Club? No, surprisingly not. I've been playing Squad Battles since Dan mentioned that. Squad Battles was my game mode of choice back in the sort of Halo 3 era of Halo. So I am very excited to see that come back. I think for me it's just a perfect balance of the amount of players versus the size of the maps that they chose, at least for this playlist that they have. And very cool that they're choosing community made maps, and just again, this is good Halo and I enjoy it. It's very fun. And what else have we been playing? Not much aside from that.
Okay.
Playing with our hearts.
Playing
For
with
real.
your hearts.
Why don't you massage it for me?
I would have played like, Phasmophobia or Party Pummel, but I wasn't. I didn't. I just wasn't
invited.
playing.
Yeah, you were playing Fallout 4. So
I did play Fallout 4. That's right. I was actually shout out to Brandon, who all he did was play Fallout 4 while I was in Discord chatting with him, and made me, and I decided to buy it on Steam and download a bunch of mods for it. I played exactly maybe 45 minutes of it and was like, yeah, no, I'm good. So that was good. That's good. That's what lack of impulse control looks like, kids.
This makes sense why you were like, because your notification kept coming on, like you would quit the game and then start it back up.
I was modding the
mods.
shit out of it. Yeah,
Mods. Yep, that'll do
I was
it.
trying to get it
That'll
right.
do
I was constantly breaking it and having to go in and fix things and opening up text files. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keurig,
Incredible.
check in with Keurig. Final Fantasy VII remake he has completed 2 nights ago. Awesome game, he says.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Do you like
Keurig started that not too long ago, yeah? Oh, sorry,
I
Gage.
think so, yeah.
Do you like Tifa or do you like the other one, Keurig? Which one? Is
There's 3 of them.
there 3 of them?
The
too many.
Jess disrespect is insane.
That's too many.
Yeah.
That's a good question though. Aerith, Tifa, or Jess? We'll wait.
That's what I meant.
That's
We'll
a
wait.
good question.
Tifa, Tifa, Tifa.
FIFA?
Sure.
Tifa.
FIFA?
The correct
FIFA
answer.
Lockhart.
He says Tifa all the way. There you go.
Is that the one with the white tank top?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sign me up for Tifa as well. I guess I'm a Tifa fan too. Yeah.
What man is not interested in boobies, I guess? Oh my god. Do you remember when FF7R was announced and people were pissed because Tifa had leggings on and you
Right.
couldn't upskirt her or something?
Yeah.
People
I do
are
remember that.
insane. I'm sorry. People
also-
are freaks.
We're talking about her boobs just now. And that was another thing that they were upset about too. Like her boobs aren't big enough. It's like, Not big enough.
Okay, well, I agree
Yeah.
with that, but also, like, it's not. You don't need to protest the game over it.
Exactly.
Just go to Pornhub
my
and type in Tifa. I'm sure someone made
There
it.
are many,
I'm
done it.
yeah.
many websites that you could find Big Boot Tifa on. Don't worry.
Also, well, I don't need to say this now. That's fine. I think I've already mentioned it on the podcast anyway.
My goodness, people are crazy.
No, I'll mention it now again. Did you know? When BioShock Infinite came out, and I think I've mentioned this before, that people were so horny for Elizabeth that like 3D art, I guess, like CG, went through so many iterations of technology to like get it to where it like wants to be, because they wanted to see like porn of Elizabeth, and it was like compared like the technology jumps, like the comparisons people make are insane. I have to
They'll do anything for
another time, but yeah. Thanks to BioShock Infinite, like we now have like better 3D animation and everything. Like the movies you're seeing out are technology is at the point where it is now because of Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Let's move into our topic of the show: AAA superhero games. We just got a new one announced. Got a lot of superhero games on the horizon. So let's talk about the new one and maybe discuss the whole slate of superhero games and talk about maybe our excitement or lack thereof for one of these, all of these, so forth. Black Panther. A new game is in development at a new EA studio called Cliffhanger. They're also worth noting, people were kind of quick to jump on the kind of like, hey, what does the studio look like? Are there people of color involved with the studio? To which I think, blanking on his name. Is it Yusuf?
McGee.
Yusuf, tweeted that like, hey, sometimes studios will put out tweets announcing stuff like this so that you can get people hired on and to come work for the game so they can help finish it, which makes sense. And so he was kind of suggesting like, hey, if you are a person of color who wants to be working in games and want to help make Black Panther the best game it can be, that you want to see represented, then come work and for Cliffhanger and help it be that way. So that was kind of a nice way for us to wrap our heads around. But yeah, a new Black Panther game is in the works. I thought it was the third one that was announced. It's only the second. Technically, the first one was the Captain America game that's set, I think, in Wakanda. It's like Captain America and the Amy Hennig game. It's Captain America, Black Panther, and I think a World War II soldier. Off the bat, the studio was formed in 2021 and is led by Kevin Steffens, who was boss of Warner's Monolith during development of Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor and Middle-earth: Shadow of War. In addition to leaders from those games, Cliffhanger's team includes veterans of franchises including Halo, God of War, and Call of Duty. The original third-person single-player Black Panther game is being developed in collaboration with Marvel Games. Are you guys excited for a third-person Black Panther game?
I could get excited about it. Obviously, we don't know anything. We haven't seen anything or anything about it, and it's EA, so who knows? But yeah, I think it would be super cool, and I think it would fit the character very well, like third-person action, like adventure type genre. Just don't make it a fucking team-up game where it's like battle pass and here comes all the other shit that comes with a live service. But yeah, this could be
we know
cool.
it's single player, right?
Do we? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. My concern is it going to be a bit confusing for more general audiences who have another Marvel games in the work with Amy Hennig's Captain America Black Panther game? Are they going to be consistent? Is it the same Black Panther? I don't think it is.
No.
Yeah, that's my concern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy that we already have two announced Black Panther games. Obviously, neither of them have a date yet, but it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if they release near around each other or if they're further enough apart that it isn't confusing. On paper, this sounds exciting to me as well. Like Dan was saying, third-person single player sounds like it could be pretty fun. I enjoyed the Marvel's Avengers War for Wakanda DLC that they did all those years ago. I thought that was pretty cool. So it'd be cool to see a game focused on the character, built around the character, what that might look like. Yeah, I think could be cool.
It is interesting, Christian. You make a good point. Like, why would Marvel allow them to like have the same character twice? Like, you would think that they would kind of restrict them and be like, nah, we can't have two games at the same in development at the same time that are the same character.
I mean, right. One would think that, but at the same time, like Marvel Comics, like they have multiple Spider-Man going on at the same time. Like comic books always have different.
True.
But it is different. I think general audiences, when it's like these kinds of media, especially like from movies, like I'm thinking about how confusing it's going to be for the DC cinematic universe with the new Gunn movies. Where did I mention this here last week? They have the Gunn universe itself that's about to start, but they also have a separate Matt Reeves universe. That's getting Reeves directed sequels, but also spin-offs in the Reeves universe by other directors, TV shows and stuff. And so now you have two separate universes going on at the same time. Is that going to get confusing for people who are like, wait, hold on, he's Batman? I thought Robert Pattinson was Batman.
I don't think so. I think that's kind of like that's probably what studios think, but I don't think that's. I don't know. You go to see the Batman, I don't think you're confused. Like if you go see Matt Reeves the Batman, I don't think I'm sitting there. When's Aquaman gonna show? Like the tone is totally different. And with these two games, like we don't know anything about them. But if the Captain America one is, I think, supposed to take place in World War II. If this standalone Black Panther game is like a modern or futuristic sort of MCU, like I don't think people are gonna. I don't know.
What?
I'm surprised that you think that audiences will get confused. I don't think that they will.
Well, you're right. I fail to consider the timeline of the game at all. That's a very good point. Yeah, the Amy Hennig one is World War II. Yes.
And to both of your points, like you said, there's multiple Spider-Men out there. Maybe this is two different Black Panthers, so maybe one's T'Challa and one's someone else. Like maybe Marvel specified that.
I think it was confirmed that the World War II Amy Hennig game by Skydance is T'Chaka, or I think it was it was T'Challa's grandfather. I think is supposed to be in this.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Here it is, teaming up with Ajuri, Black Panther, also T'Challa's grandfather.
Got it.
Yes.
That makes sense.
All our criticisms thrown out the window just by us reading some simple sentences. Gage, you keep us honest, man. Here we go, though. There's been a lot of discussions, though, about superhero fatigue, right? Some people think it's a thing. I think some people in the industry, like James Gunn, are being like, it's not superhero fatigue. It's people are just tired of seeing the same stories over and over again. It looks like we're in the renaissance of a new kind of superhero renaissance in the games industry. I haven't seen a lot of superhero games kind of in the masses for a while, and now we have a bunch announced. We have a Suicide Squad game coming from on the DC side that just got, I think, pushed until next year.
Yep.
Right? We should probably wait until we get the review scores from these games before we call it a renaissance, right? Because if they're all bad,
right. But
so far we have Gotham Knights and Marvel's Avengers that have come out, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy was good, but we're 1 for 3.
But you're mistaken, because Marvel Spider-Man was
correct.
Was great.
Yes.
Miles Morales was also received very well. Spider-Man 2 is coming out this year. We also have Wolverine on the horizon from Insomniac. But the more question marks are going towards Wonder Woman from Monolith. We don't know what that is looking like. We only got the announcement. We have no details there. We talked about Skydance. And then we have another Monolith game not Monolith. Another EA game, EA Motive, with their Iron Man game.
That's right.
They just worked on Dead Space remake, and now they're working on Iron Man. So it seems like they're going to be back in the zeitgeist pretty soon, and so we're going to be in a couple of years inundated with a new superhero game, at least one a year, or maybe 2 a year. Are they going to be making? And then here's my thing: I say, is there going to be fatigue? Yes and no, because I think if you're going to tell interesting stories, then people will probably buy the games anyway. If the game is good, people will go, right? Same point for the equivalent of the cinema, where I didn't like Ant-Man, but I will flock to the Batman Part 2 because I know they're writing some strong stories, and it might be the same thing for games. I'm flocking towards Marvel Spider-Man 2 because I know Insomniac I enjoyed their version of Spider-Man. I'm sure they'll have another great story to tell. So I'm talking
Yeah.
too much. Someone else jump in.
From this list that we have here, the Justice League and Marvel, Wolverine, Wonder Woman, all that stuff. I'm excited for Wonder Woman and Spider-Man 2. Obviously, Wolverine, not a hero that I'm super in love with. I know he's fan favorite, people like him, but the reason I'm excited for it is because it's an Insomniac and they've proven themselves with Spider-Man, so I'm interested in it. But everything else, I'm very like, okay, cool. And to be fair, most of this stuff we haven't really seen anything from yet.
Right.
So I can't really judge it too harshly, but I think, like you were saying with the what was it, the drought, not the opposite of drought. We're getting so much of it.
Renaissance.
The superhero fatigue.
Inundation of it. Fatigue.
Yes. I think I was talking to Dan in the chat earlier about the Marvel TV shows and how I've been feeling recently with Secret Invasion, all that kind of stuff. But I think I agree with James Gunn and what you were saying, Christian. It's just if these games are interesting, then I'll definitely play them. But seeing a superhero right off the bat, it's not as exciting as it used to be. So I have to wait to see what it's going to be so I can get excited for it as opposed to back in the day, if I heard Suicide Kill the Justice League is coming out, I think I would just be excited because that sounds cool. But right now I need to see if it's actually going to be interesting before I get too excited.
The Wonder Woman game on paper to me is not exciting off the bat because hold your misogynistic comments. All right.
She's a woman, isn't it?
No, it's actually because it's described as an open world game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but with super strength and Amazonian skills.
No.
And I think I have a certain degree of open world fatigue depending on how the open world is designed. I think so far, like a lot of games have been kind of samey in that regard of open worlds where, okay, when I see both an open world game, or I see that a game is going to be both open world and superhero, I'm just like, okay, these are the two most least interesting things that I'm kind of craving right now as a person who's consuming media. And so I'm, naturally I gravitate to the games that are going to pull me in. The exception is, again, Spider-Man, because swinging around as Spider-Man in the open world is fun. But you're right. We should, we will have to wait and see for what Wonder Woman actually looks like for me to give a final verdict.
I must have forgotten, or I just didn't know that information about it being an open world game. Again, that doesn't need to be a negative if it's done well. But in my head, I was thinking like, oh, Wonder Woman, I thought it was going to be like a close combat melee fighter, third person action game.
That'd be cool.
That sounds awesome, right? That's what I was thinking but I guess it's not going to be that.
It's so interesting that you say that, Ro, because literally as you guys were talking, I was thinking about this. So you have the problem that I have with superhero games and why I think I'm experiencing a superhero game fatigue. Obviously, I've been vocal about my superhero movie fatigue, but I agree more with James Gunn saying he's right. It's not that they're superheroes per se, because I can watch something like The Bullies and love it. It's more that, okay, they're following the same formula and it's the same kind of XYZ. But the problem I have with games is that it seems like they have the same problem where it's a third-person game, the camera's pulled way back, and you're fighting like 10, 20 bad guys at the same time, and it's a button combo. But I was thinking about, like, imagine if Wonder Woman came out, and it was almost like what Max Payne was to Grand Theft Auto. Instead of you're fighting 12 people at once, imagine it's like you're fighting 3 or 4 people at once, the camera's close, and maybe there's like, you're attacking certain parts of the body, and like you're using your whip to kind of like, aim at the left leg and use your whip, and then now you've pulled that person. Like, it's so unfortunate to me that more superhero games don't try and kind of punch in and focus on certain aspects. And to me, I think of Max Payne, where it's like you have Grand Theft Auto and you have the amazing ragdoll system and you have pretty good shooting and pretty good driving. And then when they released Max Payne 3, they got rid of everything else except for the gunplay and like the ragdoll physics. And it really focused in on that. And it made that game, that's why that game is like a cult classic, and it has such a small fan base, but a very vocal fan base, is because you can play that game today, and the shooting for a third-person game feels still kind of unmatched, because they literally cut away everything else and focused on what's important. So hearing you say that, Ro, of like, oh, what if it was a close combat kind of thing? Like, that's what I was thinking immediately, where it's like, I wish more of these superhero games would kind of take chances and be like, what if you didn't just constantly fight 20 people at once and you had to, just take on a few people at once, but you could get the shit beat out of you if you didn't block right, and if you didn't sort of use certain moves. Like, I don't know. I feel like that would be cool, but we'll see what we end up getting.
You know how we get really cool stories and stuff, guys? We force the writers to fucking sell their houses and go bankrupt. That's how.
Hell yeah, brother.
I'm sorry, that was a terrible joke.
No, you're right.
got
When your
it.
house is on the line, you're gonna write a better script. I mean, the logic is there.
No, that's
I totally
awful.
agree with them.
That's awful.
Can you believe Deadpool 3 is filming in the middle of the strike? Get the fuck out of here. I'm
So,
sorry. I'm
this
sorry.
is-
I could not be less excited for that movie.
Dude, this is the problem because I don't know, like a lot of it, like yes, it's on the consumers. Don't spend money on things, don't reward bad behavior. But there's a lot of creatives, especially in the video game industry, that also like support these companies when they do stuff like this. And I feel like that like we should kind of put them like when Ryan Reynolds is promoting this movie, when Hugh Jackman is promoting this movie, people should be like, hey, you were in favor of the writer's strike. How come you're fucking filming? Like, I don't know. There's so many double
Contracts, I guess.
I guess, but still, I don't know.
I am very curious to see what this motive game looks like from for Iron Man.
Yes.
Because Dead Space like does feel very punched in, and I'm sure the remake feels heavy to play and crunchy, and that is very much a game where, like Gage describing, is where you are focusing on aspects of the bodies of the necromorphs. I think they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
that's a perfect example. Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if that's going to translate to a closer camera to Iron Man, where you are kind of fight, even if it is max 5 or 6 people, it still feels very much like engaging, like a God of War, like that's punched in, and you still have rooms where you're fighting a lot of people, but it's very combat focused, and I think given Iron Man's arsenal of weapons, I think that could be a very like heavy, fun, punched in combat focused game if they land it right.
Well, punching in was even just an example. Like, say for Iron Man, what you could, if you wanted to. So my thing for Iron Man wouldn't even necessarily be that. It would be, okay, if you want to make an Iron Man game and you want to differentiate it from all the other superheroes, why don't you lean into the flight aspect? And what if it feels like when you boot up Iron Man, you're playing Ace Combat, right? Like lean into genres. Not even necessarily like you're Iron Man and you got your fists up and you're like hitting somebody in the left thigh. Like, I mean, you got your Iron Man, you'll just blast them, but you could lean towards the flight thing. And it's like, okay, you're customizing your suit and you can pick between focusing on offensive attacks or having better shields or having better boosters. Like, just kind of, these superheroes are so unique and have so many different skills, but when we play the games, they're all the same. They all do the same thing. It's just Batman Arkham Knight. But it's like, okay, I'm playing as Iron Man. Why shouldn't this game feel like I'm playing Ace Combat?
I will say this. On the actual flight thing you just mentioned, Motive also worked on Star Wars Squadrons, which I picked up and played for VR. And I gotta say, when I played that on PC, I thought the flying in that game was phenomenal.
Yeah?
The game itself was like okay. Like I ended up like only playing like 2 or 3 hours of it, but the flying felt great. Granted, I was also in VR, so like that could play an element in it, but I had no complaints with the actual mechanics of actually flying. So
Positive buzz.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I know Squadrons was pretty relatively well received. So
Right.
I think given that foundation, they might what you were saying, they might be leaning into more of like a freestyle flight kind of gameplay, and that could be exciting too.
For sure.
I almost wonder if the Dead Space remake also was room for them to go to EA and say, hey, we're going to do this remake of a beloved game that we know we can, knock out of the park. And also it has some mechanics in it that are actually somewhat similar to Iron Man, that next game we want to make.
I thought that was confirmed. I thought like they went in and redid the like Isaac kind of more flying segments so that they could get practice with like a heavy bodied suit, like in preparation for, I thought that was confirmed.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's
But
pretty
that's
cool.
very cool. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense that they would do that.
Yeah.
God. See, stuff like that's exciting. All we want are these developers to put in a sense of care and not shoo it in.
Just make your products unique. Don't do what's popular. Do what's needed for the game.
Yeah. Case in point, Suicide Squad just looked very not fun to me.
Yep. As did Gotham Knights, as did Marvel's Avengers, as did XYZ.
People still rag on Avengers, and that game is like released a long time ago. I still see TikTok videos of Spider-Man swinging with like wonky music. It's insane, dude.
But I think the reason that has so much staying power is because think of the hype before the game came out. This is the first Avengers game. We're finally getting it. and then the game comes out and it's fucking.
It's like that Jurassic Park meme where they go do do do, and then it like turns like
Oh, the flute?
terrible.
The flute.
Yeah.
Like that, except for Avengers. Do
Yeah.
do do do.
Yeah.
Incredible. Folks, let us know if you're excited for any superhero games. And also, you should be excited for episode 200 next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. But until then,
Decathlon.
thank Decathlon, Marathon, Bungie. Thank you again to everyone joining us live on YouTube and Twitch, as well as podcast services and everywhere, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your pods. Thank you, Roshan. Thank you, myself. Thank you, Gage. That's Daniel. And this has been Podcast PXN, and we are Gonzies.
Much love and keep on gaming. Thanks, Kira.
See ya.
Nice.